Practical report writing.
Okay, now if you go to your notes, page 14.2 here. Okay. Um, just give me a second. Okay. Now here is a list. It's basically it's a structure of your investigation report. Okay. Now first you need to have an aim. Okay. So what's the purpose of conducting this experiment? Okay. And it needs to be specific. Okay. Basically why you're doing it. Okay. For instance, you may want to just don't write down something like investigate on the uh, on solar power. It does try to be specific. Something like investigate on the efficiency of solar panels, or investigate on the affected. Well, sorry, investing on the uh, effectiveness of different colors when absorbing energy, or investigate something like this. Okay, so it's a short statement, but be specific. Now, the second section of your report will be your background theory. So what you do is you need to write down what's your theory. You need to write basically you need to write down this before starting the experiment. Okay. What you expected? What's the theory? Uh, what's the theory of solar panel? What's the theory of what you what basically what do you predict to happen and why? Okay. Uh, so, yeah, all the physics theories. Okay. Apparatus is the equipment and the material you're going to use during your experiment. Okay. Remember, you are designing your own experiment. Keep them simple and easy. Don't try to use something like don't try to use something like the high voltage or high current, high voltage power lines, which could be dangerous, and you don't have it. Okay. Or don't try to use equipment those. If you're doing the experiment at home, don't try to use the equipment that cost $10,000 plus, because we don't have it, and I don't want you to spend $10,000. I don't. I don't want you to spend more than $30 on this experiment. Okay. You can go to Dick Smith Electronics, buy those electrical motors, small motors, or those electrical motor kit, but you don't have to. Uh, they cheaper. They $20-30, but don't spend anything more than that. Okay. So the next section will be the method. Okay. What did you do? What do you plan to do? Okay. So yes. Okay. Um, for instance, step one, what do you do? Step two, what do you do? Then step three, what do you do? Then step four will be repeat step one to step three, blah blah. Okay. Data. Now, okay. All these four sections we talk about, okay, can be done before should be done before you conduct the experiment. Okay. This four section of the report is basically your planning section. Okay. You have your aim, you have your background knowledge, you organize your material, and you design the process of the report, the experiment. Okay. So ideally, those four sections should be done before you start conducting the experiment. You should have everything ready after after you finish writing this four section of your final report. Okay. Then the next part will be your data. So it's when you're conducting your experiment, you need to basically write down the data, write down your observations. Now, your data should be measurable. Okay. It should be something like um, it should involve in energy, maybe the temperature, the current, okay? And when you're writing it, okay, try to organize them in tables or in graphs, so it is easy to well, when I read it, they make sense to me. Okay, just don't use a scrap paper and just scratch on it, because if I don't, because if I don't understand it, you don't get marks for this section. Okay. Now, the analyze part is it's basically your discussion. Okay. The importance of this is you need to talk about your relevant data. Okay. The data section is just the data, what you recorded in, what you recorded. Okay. Your discussion is discussing the data. This includes calculations. Okay. And what does the calculation mean? After collecting all the data, after you're doing all the experiment, what does the data mean? What does the final value mean? What does it tells you? For instance, what's the efficiency? Okay. What's the energy output in joules? What's the energy input, or how efficient is this? Okay. Then also you need to talk about errors. Okay. So what error have you made, and why? What improvements you can do after that? So you need to talk about this most important section in your experimental report. Now, next part will be your conclusion. Is a summary of your discussion, okay, your analysis. So basically, make it short, okay, short, clear, and simple. Then you need to do a reference. Okay. So you need to list any resources you have used. For instance, well, if you in the background theory part, if you read an article or use the website, okay, so write it down. Okay. Write down what the thing you used. Okay. It needs to be a clear list of resources and references. So just yeah. Right. So if you have any question about this project, give me a call anytime. Okay. I'm happy to help you because well, it is a very it is a very confusing project. It can be confusing. If you have anything, if you're not clear about anything, send me an email, give me a call. I'm happy to help you. Okay.